Hey, David Packman here for Free Speech TV at the Free Press National Conference for Media Reform 2011, joined by Craig Aaron, incoming President and CEO of Free Press. Congratulations, first of all.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks for having me on.
Give me a sense, knowing Josh Silver for a while, was this a friendly transition? Yeah. Were you coerced into this?
There's no coup.
Yeah.
This is a very friendly transition. Josh and I have worked together now for more than 7 years. He had the opportunity to do an exciting new project on campaign finance issues, which is really one of his true passions. And hopefully I'm ready to step in and follow his leadership, which has really built this organization to what it is today. I'm hoping to carry that forward. A few wrinkles here and there, but very much a smooth transition. Josh remains part of our board of directors, and we move onward.
There's no shortage of issues that you're going to have to deal with. I mean, we have net neutrality or lack thereof. We have consolidation of media ownership and just a number of other issues. What's personally your big thing that you hope to really, put your stamp on or really work on in the next year, 18 months?
Sure. Well, I think the immediate priorities, you have hit on a couple of them, and of course I can't just pick one. So, I think we do have this net neutrality fight, but I think there's much larger issues that have to do with how do we ensure universal, affordable access to the internet? And net neutrality is a key part of that, but we also have really big issues of competition. And right now we're staring at a world where cable companies are about to become really dominant when it comes to internet service. They're essentially will have a monopoly on the highest speeds. That concerns me a lot. And then the related issue on the wireless side, where we're looking at AT&T and T-Mobile looking to merge, which would create this incredibly powerful duopoly with Verizon and AT&T controlling maybe 80% of the market. So on the access side, that really concerns me. On the content side, I think my passion is really going to be about public media, and not just public broadcasting, public media in all its forms, including Free Speech TV, but how can we find new and innovative ways to fund public media that gets beyond the political whims of Washington. These attacks we've been seeing happening, we shouldn't have to see that anymore. We spend a paltry amount on public media. We need to talk about investing in the journalism we need to actually serve local communities. So that's a big priority. Those are really big projects. They won't all be accomplished in 18 months, but I do think we can really gain some real ground.
What do you think can be done? Because it's really, to me, it's both shocking and concerning that so much of a big deal is made out of the tiny amount of the federal budget that goes towards Corporation for Public Broadcasting, or NPR, and there's this big debate, or at least big relative to the piece of the budget it takes up for, do we need a couple billion for NPR or don't, or it's probably maybe not even be that much when we talk about it, when really there's so many issues that represent such a bigger part of the economy and really I think should be at the forefront. Given that you work specifically in the media field with Free Press, you're actually trying to, in a way, maybe, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but steer the attention away from some of the issues you're working on when it comes to taking money away. How do you do that while at the same time building up the name of Free Press?
Yeah, well, I think what it is we want them to get out of the business of meddling with public media because there are larger issues. Now, public media has its own issues. They're just not going to be solved by what's happening in Congress. So I think what we do is we take this incredible energy, this incredible support. People really treasure public media. We need to transfer that fan culture almost into political action. We need to see the political movement not just to hang on to what we have now, that little $1.50 per capita, but to actually move forward with long-term reforms that would actually put public media on solid footing, for years, get it away from that yearly dole. I think there are smart policies that could do that. What's missing is the political will to get there. So I think we have to be having that conversation. We have to be moving forward from the annual appropriations fight, because all that serves to do is keep public media in a box. It challenges them not to speak out, not to challenge those in power. That's the goal of these attacks on public media, and that's why it takes maybe such precedence in these budget attacks, partly because they don't really want you to know what else they're gunning for, these other things that we'll only find out about later. They want to use public media as a distraction. I think it's up to us, though, to fight against that, and the public media institutions to say, no, we're not going to roll over. We're not going to try to appease people who are trying to kill independent journalism, who are trying to kill public media. We need to actually be looking for long-term support, because honestly, I don't see a better way to answer this crisis in journalism. Tens of thousands of journalists have lost their jobs in the last few years. And if we don't improve our public media system, if we don't learn the lessons from the rest of the world, those aren't going to be replaced and communities aren't going to know what's happening. And to be clear, while I support funding and dramatically increased funding for PBS and NPR, when I say public media, I don't just mean those flagship institutions. I think we need to be investing in community media outlets, low-power FM stations, nonprofit websites that are committed to journalism and news gathering and community service. That's got to be our priority. So I think it should be a budget issue, but just not in the way that we've seen the last few weeks.
We've heard a lot at the conference, and on my show I talk a lot about the failings of the kind of corporate mainstream media and also the successes of independent media. And there's a lot of both to talk about. But what would you say have been maybe over the last year or two some areas where public and independent media have not done as well as maybe they could have, taking into consideration the limited resources that they have? I mean, is there an area that you say, that you see that there has been maybe not as much success as there could be?
Well, you know what, I think maybe one area, and I don't want to, because I understand the limited resources.
It's not about being critical, but it's a question that's not being asked.
No, I think it is a really interesting question, and honestly, I think the answer is local news and local journalism. It's actually building these institutions not just to offer opinions. Now, I've got an endless amount of opinions, and I'm happy to share them with independent media outlets, but I think often because of the resource question, we're not actually investing in that kind of professional journalism, and I don't mean that in the he said, she said sense. I mean it in the shoe leather reporting, investigative sense. And it's very hard for independent media outlets often to do that. I think they do a great job of bearing witness to things that aren't covered otherwise. I think they do a great job of offering perspectives that you don't hear in the mainstream media. What I would love to see in my dream where we get all of that money, it would be actually invested in reporting, beats, and training up a new generation of journalists who aren't being taught to be impartial, who aren't being taught to just parrot the themes of the corporate media, but who have those skills, those journalism skills to actually go out and get the stories.
And at the same time, one of the criticisms of NPR and PBS has been that they are increasingly, because of this idea of keeping the opinion fully out, are not appealing to a lot of younger demographics, and that's an issue we have to deal with also.
No, I think you're right. I actually don't believe there's such thing as objective journalism. Everybody's got an opinion, and I think actually NPR and PBS would be better off embracing that. Have a variety of opinions, be honest about it. Don't pretend that you're some kind of arbiter. Be fair, stick to the facts, say what you have to say, and let the people judge. People are capable of that, and I think you're right that young people now, they expect it. They want to know your opinion. They want to have an argument with you. They don't want you to kind of put together these false layers of objectivity, and I think NPR would be better if they weren't trying to hide from the criticism but challenging it and saying, you can call us whatever you want, but we just spent all this money to open a bureau in Baghdad, or we just did this 20-minute piece about police brutality or whatever have you. Honor the work, point out the work, and don't get involved in this other stuff.
Craig Aaron, incoming president and CEO of Free Press. Great to talk to you. David Pakman back at NCMR 2011 after this.